Hi everyone. I don't normally film with my hair out, especially when my hair's not done, but I wanted to be vulnerable with you guys for a minute. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm doing this for entirely selfish reasons. Basically treating this like a video diary, but also I know that there are a lot of other targeted individuals who go through shit like this and don't say anything. So I want to give, targeted individuals the room to kind of like to fall down, to be vulnerable, to just really talk about the impact that being human trafficked by your own government has on you. Now, even though I haven't been diagnosed, I'm pretty sure that I have not only ADHD but autism as well. So that alone, dealing with not malfunctions in the brain, but dealing with like different wiring in the brain and being surrounded by other people with different wiring in the brain that, everybody's masking and nobody really knows how to deal with it. And on top of that, medical practitioners are deliberately not diagnosing you. It's a difficult thing to go through, like at the best of times. And quite often when you're dealing with undiagnosed ADHD and autism, it can lead to actual like cluster B personality disorders like borderline personality disorder and even narcissistic personality disorder. There are TIs out there who are neurodivergent. In fact, a good number of TIs that I know have neurodivergence, and they're so busy trying to make out like they're not crazy that they think that neurodivergence is the same as being mentally ill, but it's not. Neurodivergence is about the brain being naturally wired differently in comparison to other people, whereas mental health issues is usually a chemical thing. It's usually a chemical response or something that is related to trauma in the brain. So mental health, mental illness is very different to neurodivergence. So there are a lot of TIs who are definitely neurodivergent without a doubt, but they don't know because they haven't been taught that neurodivergence and mental health issues are completely separate from each other. And unfortunately, that allows criminals within psychiatry to weaponize this against the TIs. So it's either you have mental difficulties and gang stalking isn't real, or you don't have mental health difficulties and gang stalking is not real. So those are the options that they try to give you. And in the midst of all that, you've got TIs saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing like, I don't have this, I don't have that, like I'm not crazy. But it's like neurodivergence is not about being crazy and it's not about being mentally ill. It's about like your brain being wired differently. But again, when these things are left undiagnosed, it can lead to other personality disorders like borderline and narcissistic, which some TIs have, not all of us, but some TIs actually have, including myself, because the neurodivergence was left untreated. And when the neurodivergence is left untreated, that can also be something that can be weaponized against you as a targeted individual, because they can lean on your emotions. Like they can literally say any dumb shit. If you know within yourself that they're trying to hurt you, it's the intention that gets to you more than the words used, more than the actions engaged. It's the intention that gets you as a BPD person, because there's an acute sense of rejection. Because remember, if you've got ADHD, you've got really, really bad sensitivity rejection dysphoria. And when you go through that enough, it does lead in some cases to BPD, which increases the rejection sensitivity dysphoria. So that can actually be weaponized against you as a targeted individual by the perps to further psychologically torture you, right? So it's like, as a targeted individual, like just living your life every day, you're dealing with this incredible mental load, right? And that's just for people who are not neurodivergent, let alone targeted individuals who are neurodivergent, and then on top of that have developed cluster B personality disorders as a result of their neurodivergence being left undiagnosed or untreated, right? So you've got all of these things being weaponized against you. So just doing normal things like cleaning, cooking, like getting up out of bed. Like I've been in, like I woke up at 11 this morning. It is now almost 2:30 in the afternoon. Been in bed practically this whole time. And it's because that just waking up in the morning is weaponized against you as somebody who is neurodivergent and has a cluster B personality disorder. Just like waking up in the morning is weaponized against you with remote electronic weaponry and psychological torture. These things alone are weaponized against you. So it's incredible amount of taxing mental work just getting up in the morning, and that takes a toll on you physically. So that's just getting up in the morning. And then on top of that, right, you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do all of these things. Like, look at my environment right now, right? Like, just basic cleaning and cooking is just super overwhelming to deal with, because on top of the psychological, like neurodivergence alone and cluster B personality disorders alone, like all of that is exhausting enough to deal with. And then you got to deal with the gang stalking on top of that. So you're having to physically work through psychological torture and remote torture, just getting out of bed in the morning, just doing basic shit. It is a lot of work just off that. And then on top of that, when you actually do get up and you got stuff to do, again, here comes the psychological torture. Here comes the remote torture trying to throw you off balance, right? So you got to deal with this. And then on top of that, you got to deal with, the psychological torture and the remote torture on top of you just trying to survive. Like, you just trying to go to work. You just trying to, like, I'm lucky enough to live in the UK where they have really good benefits over here. But there are certain countries that don't have the benefits that I have. So they have to go to work with this shit going on. They've got to go to work on top of that. Raise kids on top of that. So whilst you're raising your kids and whilst you're working, you're being bombarded with these remote weapons. You're being bombarded with psychological torture. And all of that is work. Every single day, you have to work harder than somebody who is not a targeted individual. You've got to work harder than the people who are torturing you. You've got to work harder than the people who are, the people who are unaware of gang stalking. It's easy when you're living by yourself and you're watching all these successful people or seemingly successful people, thinking to yourself, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Well, let's look at the situation logically. You are a targeted individual and you're being tortured every single day of your life, on top of having invisible illnesses that can leave you laid low at the best of times, let alone when you're going through torture every day. So it's very easy to compare yourself and to say to yourself, well, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be doing this. Just living is fucking exhausting. And it's specifically designed that way to break your spirit. Just living every day is exhausting. So now, at this point in my life, I actually give myself grace. I'm not an ordinary person waking up at 11 in the morning and being in bed until 3:30. I'm not an ordinary person doing this. I'm a person with low to medium functioning AUDHD, on top of borderline personality disorder, on top of premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, on top of being fucking tortured because of it, and having those emotions and that chemical imbalance and that neurodivergence being leaned on in order to further psychologically torture me on top of the remote torture. And that's just me. Like, I'm one of the lowest, I have one of the lowest readings of fucking ionizing and non-ionizing radiation in the country. I have the second lowest. And even this shit even lays me low. Imagine somebody who has my type of situation, raising kids and working. It's exhausting enough for me to have to run behind the police and mental health and like emergency services and God knows how many individuals within specific organizations, all involved in your trafficking and your murder. It's exhausting enough to carry that knowledge and deal with that. Like, just as somebody who's not working, just as somebody who does like tarot and astrology and you know, and occult stuff and magic as hobbies, it's hard enough for me. Imagine this shit when you're a mum. Imagine this shit when you have a job. Imagine this shit when you have actual stuff to do every day. This is me. I'm laid low. Imagine somebody with fucking responsibilities having to go through this shit. And even if it seems like they're outwardly doing well, inwardly, I guarantee you their bodies are corroding. I guarantee you their bodies are corroding because there's no way. And the worst part is that the older you get, the worse you're attacked remotely, because the psychological torture doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work the same way. So they got to replace that with like exploiting increasing frailty in your body. I really laid here doom scrolling and comparing myself to everybody else, and I had to really like let reality enter the equation. I had to let reality enter the equation. What kind of person deals with this type of shit every fucking day and doesn't feel fucking exhausted? And if they do, then why not rest? If I have the opportunity to do so. Because I realize what I've been doing in my head, like from me having maladaptive daydreaming, from me thinking out loud. I realized through the scenarios that I had created in my head, through thinking out loud, that I was low-key doing the same thing that everybody else had done my entire life. And that was trivialized my abuse. Because they didn't want to take accountability for their actions and they didn't want to feel too much. They didn't want to feel useless. They didn't want to feel, so they just ignored it. And plus, because it's me, because people don't like me, people are more than comfortable with my murder. They're more than comfortable with my torture. They're more than comfortable with my trafficking. And that's okay. Good for them. Now, coming back to me and coming back to TI's, that's work. That is work. I was lying here thinking, I want to get up and do stuff. I want to get up and do this. Like when I can't sleep, that's when I usually do like my readings and stuff like that. I usually do it when I can't sleep. If I can't sleep, I'm going to fucking do something. I'm going to clean. I'm going to fucking do readings. I'm going to do my research. If I can't sleep, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make sure that my hours being up and not being able to sleep or being tortured in the middle of the fucking night is not going to go to waste. That's how I operate. Yeah. But even just that, all of that is work. It's graft. Keeping yourself alive, being organized, really taking your home and your belongings seriously, making sure your hair is on point. You know what I mean? Like, and my hair's not on point now. It's incredibly dry. It is incredibly dry. But like, all of it is fucking work. And unless people are targets themselves, They will never understand. They will never fucking get it. And I can't even get into you. You know how I got overweight? You know how the fat cunt became the fat cunt? Let me tell you. First off, overdoses scarred my liver, and I started taking overdoses because of the because of the torture, because of the electronic torture, and because of the psychological torture. I'd overdosed myself several times over the years, and it caused my liver to scar. It caused scarring in my liver, significant scarring in my liver, so it doesn't process food the same, right? Second of all, I don't exercise as much as I should. I really don't. I don't like exercise. I'm good at it. It's one of those things, like physical exercise is one of those things that I'm good at, but I don't really like doing. So that's me. That's a me problem right there. The third thing is the most complex. The diet thing. This is what nobody tells you about being emotionally tortured, right? My mum used to tell me about things like this. My mum used to tell me about that. And she used to say that there were times where before coming home, because she was in an unhappy home at the time, before coming home, she would have to buy something to eat or, just fill herself with something to steady her nerves before she could enter back into that situation. And I realized I was doing that. Like, before I would come home, I would have something to eat. I would buy something to eat, buy some junk food. I still buy junk food now. I'm not saying I don't eat it, but I eat more fruit than I used to. I do eat more fruit. So it was like I'd buy junk food before coming home just to get my nerves ready, get my nervous system ready for the fuck shit that was about to happen when I walked through the door. And it wasn't even just about the people in my home with me. It was also about the neighbors, because again, gang stalking. So to prepare myself for the reality of coming home, I had to eat, steady my nerves, something, right? And then on top of that, this is something that I don't think I've told anyone on camera. I might have done. I've made a lot of videos, but do you know how there are times where I'm actually able to sleep in spite of the torture? The reason for this is because I have deliberately been eating foods late at night, but not just eating foods late at night, eating foods that I know will put me to sleep. Eating foods at night that I know will help me sleep, to navigate not only the psychological torture during the night, but also the remote torture during the night. So even my body, everything about me, even my body, torture, because the body keeps score. All of it. Oh my God, no. It's fucking buzzing. No, you need to get the fuck out. Who the fuck is that now? Oh no, it's a wasp. Oh God. Oh shit. Okay, so I'm sorry. No, I don't like wasps. I'm trying to save them, but I don't like them in my flat. I'm trying not to kill wasps, but get out, bro. Bro, get out. Oh, thank God. Whew. Hell nah. I don't like them things, man. They're too aggressive. So anyway. You see what I got to deal with? I'm the fucking wasps. Anyway. Right. So basically, what I've had to do was, before I went to bed at night, I would strategically not only eat something, but eat something that caused enough inflammation in my body to be able to get some sleep. I'm going to say that again. In order for me to regulate my nerves, I would deliberately eat specific foods to help me sleep. So this food would, a lot of people call it the itis. But what the itis is, if food is causing you to sleep, if food is putting you to sleep, that actually means that food is causing inflammation in your body. And instead of sleeping, you're supposed to walk it off. But I strategically have food that inflames my body so that I can sleep at night sometimes. So this is why when people insult my body and people insult what's going on with me, I'm like, no, you partially caused this because you're a cunt. It's your cunt behavior that partially caused what you're looking at. And you think that the solution to that, to what you're seeing, is to be more of a cunt. Everything that's happened to me in my life is because of the trafficking and the torture, on top of having neurodivergence. The work that it takes to stay alive and to push through. Your family members are being murdered. There are people that you have aligned yourself with, like in the TI community, that have been murdered. There are friends of yours being tortured, knowing damn well you're barely stronger than they are to be able to deal with this shit. So you're dealing with your friends being tortured. You're dealing with your loved ones not dying, being murdered. Yeah? You're dealing with your loved ones being murdered. You're dealing with your friends being tortured. You're dealing with yourself being tortured and murdered. With the knowledge that it doesn't matter, like the gang stalking could stop tomorrow. They've already murdered you. They've already murdered you. They've already taken away your life. They've already taken away your life. They could literally end the fucking shit tomorrow. The body keeps score. Sure, I could do some stuff to reverse it if gang stalking stopped tomorrow. I could do some stuff to try to reverse some of the damage. I wouldn't be able to reverse all of it. That's the truth. That's time lost. That's youth lost. In some cases, beauty lost. I was a pretty girl when I was younger. Don't try me. I was fucking pressure. Do you understand what I mean? All of that because of trafficking and torture, leaning on my neurodivergence to bring out the worst in me so that they could break my spirit as well as my body. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's entirely gang stalking's fault. There are things that I could do to make my life better, even in the midst of this crap. But again, it's work. The hardest work I will ever have to do, and I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the fucking truth. The hardest work that this woman right here, Fabienne Deacon, will ever have to do is in her fucking house. Is in her home. That is the hardest work I will ever have to put in. That is the hardest work I will ever have to do. Navigating daily life in my house. And navigating my private life. That is the hardest work I will ever have to do is in my private life. And that's supposed to be where you're able to rest your head. That's supposed to be where you're able to find peace. Yet that is going to be the hardest job I will ever have in my life, is trying to maintain a peaceful life, trying to build a heaven within the hell that I've been subjected to. It's hard fucking work. And here I am comparing myself to people who will have no idea what that's like and will never have any idea of what that's like. Imagine, it's one thing to be bullied and get over that. You're being trafficked by your own government to the point where it doesn't matter how much abuse you go through, you will never get the opportunity to get over any of it. That is fucking work. I just needed to come online and tell you guys that, because that's what I needed to do. And on top of that, the financial abuse. Let's talk about the financial abuse. Let's talk about the fact that you're invisibly blacklisted from particular opportunities that you got. Why do you think I tanked Black Brighton Market myself? Because if I didn't do that, there are gang stalkers surrounding that community that would have done it for me. Invisible blacklisting. When you go to work, like go to work, go to college, there's all kinds of fucking psychological torture bullshit going on top of the remote torture you got to deal with. Every single thought I've ever had in my head. There was one actor that I used to talk about in private because I used to do maladaptive daydreaming. My thoughts came out, right? The gang stalkers went and told that fucking actor what I said about them, making that actor a gang stalker. That's how far this shit gets. That's how far this shit gets. It's work. And there was another actor who I backed up against, like, a particularly narcissistic individual. That person had to block me. And it wasn't their choice. That person had to block me. That person had to block me and keep it moving to preserve their own career. And I'm not mad at him for that. I'm not mad at him for that. He did what the fuck he had to do. He saved himself. Because when you're a marginalized person like that, that's all you can do. All you can do is save yourself. So even with people you don't know, gang stalkers preempt that shit. It's a never-ending thing. With people you do know, with people you don't know, they are all at some point, they become involved in your fucking trafficking and your torture and your murder. And all of that is work. So if you find yourself like me, if you know you got arms and legs, you know what I mean? You know you got limbs, and you're wondering to yourself, why am I not getting the fuck up out of bed? Well, you know why now. If you're a targeted individual like me, remember, I'm among the second lowest in the country in terms of electronic torture. So I fucking know you're going through worse than me. I fucking know it. If you find yourself not being physically busy and you're wondering to yourself, well, why can't I get out of bed? Why can't I do this? Now you fucking know why. Now you fucking know why. It is every corner of your life, or the shit you got to put up with. And ironically, because I'm black and because I'm queer, like, I'm kind of used to all that. So it's, you know, and fat too. So I'm kind of used to all that. But, you know, I know there are some of you out there that are not like me, that are not used to this, and it's traumatic for you. And I would sit here and be like, oh, well, you're privileged. I'm like, no. The drop from being in a privileged position to being a targeted individual is fucking steep. To go from being just like everybody else to, I've never been just like everybody else. That's why I'm able to deal with certain things. But to be like, not necessarily just like everybody else, because being black and brown is normal. Like, being just like everybody else in terms of being what people think you should be, only to find yourself being gang stalked. Like, the drop is crazy. To go from being able to walk around doing what you want to do, saying what you want to say, and then all of a sudden everything, single thing that you do is weaponized. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. I don't care if you're white and male. That shit is not fucking easy to deal with. I don't care if you're straight. That shit is not easy to deal with, because to go from being like the thing that everybody gives the benefit of the doubt, to go from that to having every single thing that you fucking do weaponized against you, I have nothing but sympathy for you. Nothing but sympathy. And that goes for everybody else too. If you're not like me and you haven't been a misfit all your life and you find yourself now having everything weaponized against you, please understand, I have every sympathy for you guys. That shit is not easy to deal with. But if you are like me and you have been a misfit all your life and you are like black, queer, big, sexy, not gonna lie. I can't lie on myself. All right. If you are like any of those things, neurodivergent, and then a TI on top of that, my heart is with you guys too. I love you guys too. And I'm so sorry you're going through this. Bottom line, unless you're a trafficker or a torturer or a murderer, you should not be going through this. At all. At all. There is no way. So this is work. Just lying in bed with a million thoughts in your head because of what this world has allowed to happen to you, what this world has agreed is acceptable to happen to you. It is work every fucking day. It's work. So my message to TIs is, if you find yourself comparing yourself to other people, baby, don't. Just don't. Love yourself, because you're stronger and more deserving of that love than you know. On some real shit, you really are. You really are. Yeah. So I'm going to go. I actually feel better now that I've spoken to you guys. I actually feel better now that I've spoken to you guys. I'm going to start my afternoon now. So I hope that you got something out of that. Forgive the wasp interval earlier. Okay. I hope I didn't show my lower half, because that would have been embarrassing if I did. I'm going to watch this back. If I show my lower half, I might delete this vid. But that's, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to give everybody a full show. But like, you know, I'm clothed, but like, I'm not fully clothed. You know what I mean? So, you know, got shorts on, but I'm not ready for the world to see my legs quite yet. That will come later. Okay. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace and blessings. And I will see you in the next video. Just wanted to put a little entry in the video diary. Nothing's happened. I just wanted to talk to you guys. So peace and blessings. Bye-bye, my darlings.